Hello and welcome to the Island Lamb. I'm Diane. This is episode 57. It's the winter solstice. It's the build up to Christmas. It's Hanukkah. We're building up to Kwanzaa. It is one of my favorite times of year. You all know I really enjoy September, October, and February, but I think every month and every season has its joyful simplicities. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today a little bit, the joyful simplicities that I've been enjoying. We celebrate Christmas, so that's what we're leading up to. And it started really with just imagining how I wanted this week to feel, the week before Christmas. We go off island on Wednesday, which is Christmas Eve. Once we get off the ferry, we're less than an hour to my mom's house. So we'll spend Christmas Eve at my mom's, Christmas Day at my mom's. I'm excited to say that my cousin will be joining us this year in her family. My brother will be there, of course, my nephew. And I wanted this week, and even last week, to just be calm and joyful, and I wanted to remember some past traditions and think about possibly some new traditions, work on my wrapping and baking and knitting, and I accomplished all those things. And I am fortunate, I guess, that I am an organized person. I wasn't always organized, but I'm pretty organized. My husband's very organized. We both love writing lists, and I bought a new journal, and I have my little gentle to-do list going on, and I used red and green ink, and I get a lot of joy out of that. And I get up early in the morning. Sometimes it's still dark. I light the Christmas tree. I light my candle, pick up my journal, and I just see where it takes me. And sometimes it takes me back to an old memory. Sometimes I think about what I want to accomplish that day. But always something interesting comes out when I journal. So that's how I start the day, most days. But at Christmas time, maybe I draw a little sketch of a wreath or some holly or cardinal, or just something that I find once I let those colored pencils start going, they have a mind of their own. I did make some traditional cookies that I have made in the past, and I tried a couple of new ones. And I have to say, one of the new ones I tried has been a huge success, and I'll put the link to the recipe in the show notes. It's an almond cookie. Some people in my family can't digest nuts easily, and so I'm always very careful what I bring to my mom's house. So I used almond flour, so I get that taste of almond, and a really good almond extract, not an imitation, but a real extract. And this dough only required a half an hour in the refrigerator, and you don't have to roll it out. You just sort of make a little ball and you push down. If you wanted to, you could put 2 sliced pieces of almond or 2 slivers of almond. You bake it. It's a really quick bake. I want to say it was only 8 minutes maybe. And then you make a little confection of sugar type of icing, and you drizzle that over the top. Now, Dave, my husband, is my cookie tester, and he took one bite and said, wow, wow, and wow. I bagged some up. I sent some to my niece in Tennessee, and I brought some to my hairstylist, and she and her assistant Paige tried them, and they said the same thing. So I've made a second batch, which I will bring to my mom's. So that was one of my new cookies. Also, my sister-in-law, Mickey, shared a family recipe with me for her anisette biscotti. And I was a little unsure when I was making the dough. It was very sticky, but I finally got comfortable with it, and made 2 logs at 24 good size, the right size to have with cappuccino or coffee biscotti. And when I tasted them, I was in Italy, and that's what I wanted. I've made lots of different kinds of biscottis in the past, but I really wanted that traditional anisette flavored biscotti. So those were 2 new recipes for me. I made my sugar cookie Christmas trees that I ice, and I feel like I made something else that I make all the time, but maybe I didn't. I know there's another cookie in there. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Oh, I did make another recipe. My husband loves pistachios. We both do. And I bought some raw shelled pistachios that you toast. And this is another Italian cookie recipe. It has ricotta, it has the pistachios. They are delicious. They need something. And I had some Ghirardelli white chocolate. I can't have dark chocolate, and I wanted to be able to eat these. So I'm going to melt the white chocolate and just dip half of the cookie into the white chocolate, and I think that's just going to be perfect. There's a woman on the island by the name of Pam who makes this incredible, we call it crack. It's Christmas candy. It has a chocolate base. It's got a toffee. It's dusted with shaved or powdered nuts. It's delicious, so I have that. So I'll be bringing a nice assortment of cookies to my mom's house, and we'll put out a tray, and I always look forward to that. I don't usually eat cookies during the year, other than biscotti maybe, and so it's always a treat to have these little these cookies. Okay, so what else is going on? Well, I'm going to include some knitting in between some of my Christmas traditions. So the big highlight is the book club cardie completed. I'm showing you some photos my husband took of me wearing it during the very first snowstorm of the year on Block Island. It was a beautiful snowfall. It was those soft, dry flakes that just came down straight. It wasn't blizzard. We didn't have a gale warning. It wasn't that wet. It was just the most beautiful snowfall, and we got like somewhere between 1 to 3 inches, especially in our yard. We went into town the next day and there was no snow downtown, and I think the salt water maybe down closer to the water melted it away sooner, but it was just glorious here. The sweater is a success. I'm so pleased. I got the buttons off of, as you know, I took the buttons off of that big bulky sweater that my husband gave to me for my birthday many years ago, and I didn't have to cannibalize the entire sweater because there was an extra button inside, and there was a button at the top which I wasn't going to use, and a button way at the bottom that I wasn't going to use. So basically the sweater that I took the buttons from is still intact. I could still wear it, and I'm very happy. Let's see if I can get a little closer to you. I'm very happy with the way these buttons look. And I only put the 3. There would have been a 4th button up here, but I knew I was never going to button that. And I didn't want that button just hanging out there like that. I started this podcast with a pretty red scarf in here, but it's 44 degrees outside. It's very warm in the house. I've got boots and tights and this sweater on, so it is warm. And I did the Italian bind off on my cuffs. I can't say. I know you're getting a really good shot with the pictures I took, but I'm going to stand up once again so you can see the buttons. I did the 3. Very comfortable. I did wear it to my Mother's Garden Club luncheon. I'm showing you a couple of photos. Actually, one's a little video, and one is a photo. So first I'll show you the photo. The photo is a group of the women in my Mother's Garden Club, and they get together every year and they make wreaths for the town buildings in the town of Portsmouth where my mother lives. This is the Portsmouth Garden Club. And so you'll see my mom is in there and a lot of the ladies, and it's a wonderful service they provide every year. They hang them at the fire station, at the town hall, etc. And so, and then the next clip I'm showing you is a quick little video of the venue where my Mother's Garden holiday luncheon was. And it was at a vineyard this year in Portsmouth. We have more and more vineyards popping up in Rhode Island. And this was the first time I had been into this building. And it is beautiful, high ceilings. They did a great job decorating. It was wonderful food. You can see at the table, that is Sue and Peg and my mom. And we had a lovely day. They had holiday mocktails. You could have wine and beer because of course it is a vineyard. The food was delicious and conversation was great. They did a auction. They auctioned off some, or it was a raffle. It was a raffle to raffle off some amaryllis and a couple of boxwood centerpieces. And of course, Mom always wins something. And she won a beautiful amaryllis, a pink amaryllis. So we brought that home with us. There's a gift shop there, so we walked through the gift shop. It was a wonderful day. A wonderful day spent with Mom and the ladies. And yeah. So I wore my book club cardie to that, and I love it, and I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this. Okay, so what else is going on? Let me talk to you about a couple of more of my traditions. I do write Christmas cards, and I've mentioned this to you before. I look at the cards from the previous year, and then I remember where I was in my conversations, and I got the cards out on time, bought some pretty Christmas stamps. I enjoy pen in hand. I don't mind typing, or writing on a computer. I did take typing in high school. I'm comfortable with the keys, but I love a pencil. I like a pen, and I love these, and I'm going to include it in the show notes. I believe they're Papermate. They're called Ink Joy. These colored pens, they just flow on the paper. I can go from writing to sketching to drawing with them. And so the writing of a Christmas card, writing a short note, that is all a love that I have. So I did do that too. We did, some minimal decorating. I say minimal, but this little Christmas tree actually is downstairs in our den. I usually decorate it in the aquas, greens, and blues. But down in our den, there's not a whole lot of color. And unlike upstairs, we don't have that expansive view of the ocean. And so this year, I just put on a little bit of silver, a little bit of red. I put it in a basket, a little bow. And so this sits downstairs in the den. So when we're watching a podcast or watching a football game, we have this in our view shed. And I really enjoy it. It's just a little artificial tree. Both of our trees are artificial. I'm also at the beginning or the end showing you photos or some video of the decorations on the main floor of our house, the tree, the newest edition of ornaments. I surprised my husband. I did get Kurt Adler is the name of the company, and my mother and I both worked at a country store for many years, and my mother worked in the Christmas annex. And Kurt Adler was a big name back then for European style ornaments. And so I found Kurt Adler online, and I bought a Eiffel Tower to hang on our tree because, as you know, we went to France this year, and one of the highlights was going to Paris and going to the Eiffel Tower. So that is now hanging on the tree. And so that's a tradition to get a new ornament every year on the tree. And so we've done that. Okay, so what else is going on with knitting? I mentioned to you that I wanted to do an episode of Icelandic knitting, Icelandic yarn, Icelandic sweaters. It won't be this episode just because I have so much Christmassy kind of stuff. But I did manage to get the Katinka Icelandic sweater on the needles. And I'm going to get this a little closer to you. This is not a traditional design. I made this once before. I actually sold it to a woman who lives in Jamestown. I love this pattern. It's so different. I love this color combination. It's going to be great with black. That's black. This is called Cadet Blue, and this is a tweed. And there's a lot of color going on in this tweed, including this Cadet Blue. All I have left to do is to Kitchener under the arms and to weave. I've already blocked it. I did have to give it a good block. It's heavy. This is done on a 10.5 needle. The ribs are done on a 9, but it's 10.5. It's a lot of yarn. This is regular Lopi, not Lopi Light. So this is going to be great for hiking, for wearing outside. Very, very warm. What I haven't done yet is the pattern calls for a blanket stitch with the black and the blue. So you will alternate black, blue, and you do it on the cuff, you do it on the hem, and you do it on the neck. And I'm going to show you a photo. I think it's going to show up right here, a photo of the pattern so you can see what that looks like. And I just haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. I'll also bring this to your attention here. The one I made and sold, I did do it. I just don't know if I need to do it. We will see. This pattern can be purchased separately online on Ravelry, and I will link that. But I have it in this book, which is The Best of Lopi. I think it's called The Best of Lopi. I've made a lot of sweaters from this book. I've made a lot of Lopi sweaters. And like I said again, I will do a whole episode on Lopi, and I'll get this on. It works up so fast. So unlike almost everything I've been knitting lately, this is bottom up. So, this was top down, starting in the neck. My Orbit sweater was top down. I love top down. I love seamless. Well, I didn't knit top down up until maybe the last few years. I used to knit bottom up or in pieces and then seam. So typical Icelandic is knit bottom up. So you put on your rib, you work in the round, you work to whatever size, the dimensions say for your size, and then you start your sleeves and you build your cuff. I worked it in the round. I worked it on my small circumference Chalgu needles, and you get to the same, a certain point then you put your sleeves and your body on. It's very clear how to do that in these patterns. And then you start working your yoke. I love this design. And this goes so fast because as you're moving up the pattern, you're decreasing. And the closer you get to the neck, the more frequent the decreases occur. And so you can see that that would probably look pretty with that blanket stitch, but I don't know. I think this has got enough going on that I may not do it. So that's the Katinka. And that, I did that like in, I'm gonna say 2 weeks, but really I was off island a couple of days, and I probably could have knit that in a week. And I have a tub of Icelandic wool. And so again, that'll be a whole nother episode. All right, let's see. I'm gonna put my glasses on now if I can find them. Yay! I wanna talk about the Mermaids Purl Solstice Advent. I have been sending little clips or reels up on Instagram and Facebook these last few weeks. But for those of you who don't follow all of that, let me just start with, this was the shipping container, the shipping box. Look at the knitting needles in our mermaids here. And of course she's knitting. So this was the solstice calendar, that was the theme. The first thing we got, and it was just part of the welcome, it wasn't one of the 21 days, was this little bag to put our treasures in, and this needle checker. And there was a little book, like a little empty notebook for your notes on your projects. And we had little stitch, well, they're in here somewhere. Little stitch, oh yeah, little stitch holders. One was the moon and one with the stars, and these sweet needle stoppers with the moon on them. So that was all just given to us as the welcome, as a little welcome. Now, I'm not going to be able to get this in order of the days. I will have that in one of, either in the beginning or the end, or maybe even now, some of the pictures that I've taken, I'll try to get them in order for you. But some of the highlights for me was this really cute stitch counter, and you put it on your finger. Oh, excuse my baking injuries. I don't know, you know, touch the rack for a split second and burn my fingers. But anyway, it's a little stitch counter. And I used it when I was working on the Katinka. I figured, let me give it a shot and see how it goes. It was fun. I don't know that I would use it on every project, especially if I'm on Knit Companion, but this I didn't have on Knit Companion, so it was fun to use that. Look at these cute little scissors with the moon and stars on them. Very nice, sharp. You could steek with these if you needed to. Look at this little bobbin. I thought that was very cute. Little plastic bobbin. A Starry Night from Vincent van Gogh. Little retractable measuring tape. A great little toolbox, little accessory box. And in the box we had a darning needle and some other little stitch markers. And today we got, I love this, this was the last day, more stitch markers, but the moon, the stars, aren't they just beautiful? And the card that it's on with the constellations. This was a beautifully curated Advent. I know I'm probably missing something. Yes, I am. The bag. This was day 1, so that you had something to put all your goodies in. Every other day, we got a mini, and we also got a pattern. And the pattern is called Moon Slice. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yes, it's right here. A lot came with this, so I'm kind of all Moon Slice Shawl. Moon Slice Shawl. So it starts off light and then it works out to the rings, kind of the rings around the moon. So here we go. I'm still working it. I'm about to put on the last color, but let me give you a feel for these colors. So this was the beginning, right in here. We switched colors here, 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 here. Look at this gorgeous blue, this soft green, and the last color is this green, which I haven't put on yet. There is a 3-stitch garter on the edge, a yarn over. You're working in stocking knit, and then at 2 points in the pattern, you're doing a yarn over and a yarn over, which is helping to increase the stitches. I'm at the point now where we're actually doing some short rows, so it's been a fun pattern. There were some corrections that had to be made in the pattern, minor correction. I love doing an Advent. I loved having a little something to open every morning. It was really fun. Now, I may gift that shawl. I did that with last year's Advent. I may donate it to the medical center. I don't know. I don't shawls. You know, how many shawls does one person need? So we'll see what happens. But I still enjoyed the process. And Mermaids Purl, I just got a chance to get in there. I got some sock yarn to take with me when we go away this winter, and just let everybody there know how much I enjoyed it. Okay. So that's been an everyday fun. Seems to be a new tradition for me. It's the 2nd year I've done an Advent. Let's see what else is going on. Okay. What am I thinking about? I'm ready to put a new project on today because other than grafting and weaving, I'm done here. All the socks that I'm going to give are either completed and wrapped or just one pair that has to be blocked. I did want to show you my Christmas socks from last year. I thought I was going to have to give them away, but I didn't have to, so I'm taking these to my mom's to wear with my Christmas jammies for Christmas Eve and Christmas night. And just staying on the sock subject, I showed these to you last time. Well, not these. This is going to be my 3rd pair. This was Patterns Croy yarn. I got this at Michael's. I'm loving this yarn. I made a pair for a friend. I've made a pair for my sister-in-law for Christmas, and I had to make myself a pair. And you get enough on the skein that you can really make a nice long leg. And I like that because I wear these inside my boots. And I don't know about you, but if they're not long enough or tight enough, you know how your heel just starts to eat up your socks and they kind of get stuffed down and you have to keep pulling them out. So I really like a nice tall leg. I'm loving that the heel turned out to be red. I'm decreasing from my toe and I have to put the other one on. So I'm in really good shape as far as Christmas wrapped, baking done, Christmas cards out, big projects completed. And so I'm thinking about some yarn that I have in my stash. 2 years ago, a follower by the name of Misty was out with her husband. They stayed in the harbor on their boat, and she gave me 9 skeins of Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. I still have it. I've been thinking about this yarn a lot. I also have a ton of this white mohair. This mohair is by Valley Yarns. I got this at Webb's. It's called Southampton. This is 72% kid mohair and 28% mulberry silk. I'm thinking about putting these together. What I haven't done yet is looked through the Knitting for Olive book that I bought, I want to say last year when I made my fern sweater. And I know that there are some patterns in here that are going to call for the heavy merino. And they do combine a lot of their patterns with mohair. So I'm going to spend a little time this afternoon with a cup of tea and maybe a biscotti going through this book and do some swatching. The other thing that's on my mind, or the other yarn that's on my mind, is I have several skeins of this Drops Sky Unicolor. This is a super soft baby alpaca and merino. And this yarn is, we have 207 yards, and I have a sweater's worth of this. So, you know, and I haven't even begun to really go through the rest of my stash. These 2 yarns have been on my mind for a while. So, also, and this is something I'm probably gonna, maybe I'll start this today because I don't really have to think about it. You know, I made a couple of Sophie scarves. I made one for Mom, I made one for me. I want to make the Sophie hood. My hairstylist and friend Kinga has made several, and they look gorgeous. One, it looks really pretty on the head, but it also looks nice when it's just wrapped around and the hood is down. It's gorgeous. I have this Ultra Alpaca by Barocco that has been sitting in my stash. I don't even remember what I made with it, but I have, or maybe I didn't, I have 3 skeins. This is 50% superfine alpaca and 50% Peruvian wool. I don't even know if it'll be the right gauge. I don't know how much that matters. I will have to take a look at the pattern. There are 219 yards. Maybe I should do something else with this. I don't know, but I could start this today. We have 2 big football games on today. One is with our rivalry, and is this today? Is today Saturday or Sunday? I think today is Sunday. Today. 2 big football games today. One is with our rivalry, and then tonight it's our team. I am going to need something easy to help with my excitement and tension while I watch that game. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put this on. Whether I keep it for myself or gift it doesn't matter. Something fun to keep my hands busy, to keep me calm during these football games. Okay, let's see, where are we now? Oh, first snowfall, I told you about that. Okay, I just want to share one other thing with you. My dad had a sister, Auntie Jeannie. I've talked to you about her before. She cross-stitched this. I'm also including, I showed you all her cross-stitch pieces a couple of episodes ago, but there was one I couldn't show you because it was in with the Christmas stuff, and it was a Christmas sampler, so I'm showing you a photo of that. This aunt was very important in my life. She drove a little convertible light yellow Mustang. She had a horse. She taught me horseback riding. She was a freelance photographer for a local newspaper. She photographed a lot of my 4-H events and activities. She was very special. She knit, she counted cross-stitched. She was very bright. She was very technical and very creative at the same time. She worked both sides of her brain, and she played guitar. Now, my dad played guitar. My dad was a good guitarist. My dad was a great guitarist, but my dad played a different style guitar. He played the Hawaiian steel, which is tuned a certain way, and I didn't know it was tuned a certain way because my dad taught my brother and I how to play until I started playing or trying to play with friends, and I couldn't understand what was wrong. And then I realized quickly that my dad played one style of guitar tuned a certain way, and my aunt played a different style. So my dad called in the cavalry, he called in my aunt, and she gave me this little classical guitar, and she taught me how to play Spanish style guitar, and gave me some cassette tapes and also some music, Joan Baez, Peter, Paul and Mary, Bob Dylan. And that's where I really learned to play a folk style, Spanish style classical guitar. Over the years, I replaced that guitar, and I don't know where that guitar went. I think we gave it to somebody, but I replaced that guitar with my Alvarez classical guitar. When my aunt passed away, my uncle brought 2 guitars home, 2 of my aunt's guitars home. Gave one to my brother and gave one to me. And one is a little classical guitar. I am going to clean that up, and I'm going to give that, and my cousin knows about it, I'm going to give that to my cousin Catherine because I'm going to see her on Christmas Eve. I've not played with my cousin. I only found out these last couple of years that she played, and so maybe we'll play Christmas Eve. I don't know, no pressure there, but I will be very pleased to have my aunt's guitar stay in the family and go to my cousin. So that's a project I'm going to work on today. I'm going to melt chocolate, dip my pistachio cookies. I'm going to work on finishing this sweater. I'm going to block some socks, clean up that guitar, probably put a Sophie hood on the needles, and get myself ready for some football games. I just want to say thank you for another year. This will be I'm going to finish 3 years. This will be my 3rd year doing this. I have so much enjoyed this. I love your comments. And I don't ask you this often, but I will ask you if you are enjoying this content and you're enjoying watching me, If you could subscribe if you haven't already. It's easy. You just hit the subscribe button. There's usually a little bell at the bottom of the screen when you're watching me. Hit the like, leave me a comment. Let me know you're there. Let me know what you would like to see or hear about in 2026. And I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Happy Hanukkah. I wish you a Happy Kwanzaa. I wish you a Happy Winter Solstice. And I wish you peace, love, and joy in the new year.